Hi everyone and welcome back. In this video we are going to play with the forms. So like Svelte JS forms validation, and what are the different ways to capture the value from the Svelte forms. We are going to take a look into input text fields, checkbox, radio groups, and how we can apply the validations and all these in coming couple of videos. So a simple input text field, we can write input type text, and we can simply do value and then on input. If you are not going to just start using the bind value, this is the default alternative, which is like on input you write the event set value, and then you define the set value function, and there you do value equal to event.target.value. This is the one simple way of doing it. Okay, so here we will define a function set value, and that function will take event object as an input and value equal to event.target.value. The another simple way is we can also do the bind value, which Svelte provides. So we can write input type text. Instead of writing on input, we can simply just write a bind value equal to bind value. So here we can simply write input type text. Let's say I'm adding another input type text field, input type text, and here I can simply use bind value equal to value. So whenever there is a change in the value, it will update the value. It's like same as the two-way data binding. We can update the styling, because due to this background color we are not able to see the text fields. So I will just remove the styles we are adding in the input.html, index.html, and now it should be able to render our both text field, and whenever we are typing something, it should be able to update the value inside the text field. Okay, here we can see. Now we can write this is just a simple example how the simple two-way data binding works in Svelte JS by just using the bind value, and it takes care of everything, how to populate the value into the template, and how we can change the value from the input text field and update the JavaScript object or the variable. So bind value, so this is the custom input is the component. Let's say I wanted to write a custom input component, so it can be just a simple input text field I am writing inside that component template. So custom input.svelte component we will write, and then we will import it, and then we can use custom input component, and we will pass the value as a props. Here custom input.svelte, we will write script and just input type text field. Here we are receiving something in the props, so we will declare export let value, and here we can write our input text field, input type text, and bind value to this value. So it's just like, okay, I wrote just another component which is receiving value as a props, and I just did the same thing. I'm doing the bind value, and this is another text field. So if I'm typing something inside this text field, it will update. So here it is updating all the values whenever I'm typing something in the third text field, because we are using the same variable and doing the bind of that variable into 3 different text fields. Okay, now we are going to play with radio button, checkbox, and checkbox group. Let's say how we capture the values from this. Here this is how you can actually watch the value changes happening in the value when you are typing into the text field, adding the value. You can watch, and you can use this dollar expression so that it will always print. I mean, this dollar expression will execute when you are updating the value inside the text field. With any other input type number, date, it works in the same way. We are just using the bind value, and we can bind value with the price. We can declare this variable, and we can also add a watch expression for this. So whenever there is a change in the price, we should be able to log it. So this is how you can create a simple text fields, and you can write a sign up, login page, login form, sign up form, any kind of form using just a bind value. We should be able to capture the value from those input text fields. In the bind value, you can also map it to an object property. Let's say user.username, user.email, user.password, or something like that. And let's say how we do it for the checkbox. For the checkbox, we are going to use bind checked to apply the value or to capture the value. So bind value is for input text field, bind checked is for checkbox, and here we are using agreed as a variable, and we can also watch for the variables variable agreed. Whenever you click onto the checkbox or unchecked, the agreed will become true and false. We can add a watch expression here, console.log agreed. Similarly, we can talk about the examples where we are using radio group or the checkbox group. Radio group is another example, and what we do is we have input type radio, and there how can we have the same kind of behavior? Input type radio, where we are going to have a common name property. So here we will just simply add input type radio, and we will just put the name. Here we are capturing the colors, and the value equal to the value which this radio button will provide when you click onto this radio button. And here we have to use bind group. This is the dynamic variable in which we are going to assign the value of this radio button. Bind group, your like favorite color or something, you can repeat the radio button a number of times. So here we have to declare our value my color with some value, let's say the red, blue, green. Based on that, by default the radio button will be available, and when you change it, this particular variable will also gets updated. Okay, so these are all the different examples of radio button input text field. Similarly, we will write the drop downs and all. In the next video, what we will do is we will create a custom input component that can manage all the different input types and different controls like radio button, select, drop down, and all these.